Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Together with the Presidential Communications Office, we bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and the Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Joe Fernandez from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. states the presence of Russian attack submarine in the country's exclusive economic zone is very worrisome, leaving the Philippine Navy to handle the issue. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. distributes Christmas packages to over 700 beneficiaries in Manila Boys Town. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. leads the gift-giving activity in Muntinlupa, promising Filipinos will have a Merry Christmas and will feel its true spirit. The ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office, or AMRO, sees the country's economic growth to reach 5.8% this year and 6.3% in 2025. Minimum wage hike for private sector workers in Eastern Visayas takes effect today. Although it is quite alarming to learn about the presence of a foreign vessel, much more a Russian attack submarine within the country's exclusive economic zone, there is such a thing called freedom of navigation, according to vessels that are not considered to be a threat. Still, even the president found the development alarming but left its handling to the capable hands of the Philippine Navy. PTV's Patrick De Jesus has more.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. considers any intrusion into the country's exclusive economic zone alarming. This after a Russian attack submarine UFA 490 was spotted on November 28 in the West Philippine Sea, 80 nautical miles west of Cape Calavite in Occidental Mindoro. The president has left the matter to the military.
That's very concerning. Any intrusion into the West Philippine Sea of our EEZ or of our baselines is very worrisome.
According to the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Philippine Navy's BRP Jose Rizal frigate promptly escorted the Russian submarine. The Navy also deployed aircraft to monitor the submarine's movements. The AFP stated that the Russian submarine's crew responded to radio communication, saying they had come from Malaysia after a military exercise with the Royal Malaysian Navy. They were reportedly waiting for weather conditions to improve before continuing their journey back to their naval base in Vladivostok, Russia.
Nabigla kami. Bakit may na-detect ang Russian submarine? Sapagkat hindi naman pangkaraniwan na may dumadaan sa atin na submarine, ang kagandahan doon, nakapag-responde naman tayo, yung ating mga aircraft at ating mga barko.
No illegal activity was observed from the Russian submarine, which surfaced while passing through the West Philippine Sea.
In the same manner, pag ang ating mga barko naman, for example, napunta sa ibang bansa at dumaan doon sa exclusive economic zone ng ibang bansa, they are also given the right of freedom of navigation and innocent passage. Basta wala naman silang ginagawang mali or labag sa mga batas ng bansang yun.
For a maritime law expert, the passage of the Russian submarine cannot be considered a threat.
It cannot be a threat because it's a submarine on the surface. That's not a threat. Since it's on the surface, it's actually announcing itself.
From the People's Television Network, Patrick De Jesus, Balitang Pambansa.
Another incident of harassment by who else but the China Coast Guard on Filipino fishermen was reported anew. Despite this, authorities remain committed to provide assistance to fisher folks. PTV's Vel Custodio has the full report.
After receiving a report of the harassment by the China's People's Liberation Army or PLA Navy helicopter on fishermen in the West Philippine Sea last November 28, the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG immediately deployed BRP Cape Engaño and BRP Melchor Aquino with the PTV News team on board to Rizal Reef. While sailing to the West Philippine Sea, two China Coast Guard or CCG ships made a dangerous maneuver on the BRP Cape Engaño near the area of Escoda Shoal at around 7 p.m. Saturday. Another interception was repeated at around 10 p.m. The CCG continuously tailed the PCG's ships where we are aboard throughout its voyage.
They also think na ang presensya nila dito ay lehitimong maritime law enforcement
But in reality, alam naman natin, no, in the middle of the night, you're going to cut a particular vessel. No? This is very dangerous. Maaaring magdulot ito ng banggaan at maging resulta ng isang sakuna. No? But our Philippine Coast Guard commanding officers are always professional and very competent, no, in terms of seamanship skills. Kung kaya't we were able to prevent this kind of collision with the Chinese Coast Guard.
The PCG arrived near Iroquois or Rizal Reef at around 6 a.m. yesterday, where footage of PLA Navy helicopter was reportedly taken. Another dangerous maneuver was made by the China ships. More than 18 fishermen's boats are in Rizal Reef. The Philippine Coast Guard assisted the Filipino fishermen, but not without a hard time getting near the PCG ships, with the Chinese Coast Guard deliberately getting in the way.
Sobra naman. Kagaya nakaraan, ma'am, pagpasok pa lang namin dito sa era na ito, hinaharang na kami agad.
Madalas po ba yun? Naharang kayo?
Madalas. Lalo na pag nagkapunta rin kami, nagalipat kami ng iba-ibang namin, makuha namin ng isda. Yun din. Hinaharas din kami po. Tapos binababaan pa kami ng mga ng rib nila. Ginapalis kami, ginapawi kami.
The consecutive storm last month and the recent bad weather also added to the burden of the fishermen.
At naibalita rin nila na mayroong 2 Filipino fishing boats na sa kasamaang palad dahil sa pangit na panahon ay lumubog. But all of the crew were rescued by other Filipino fishing boats. So wala namang nasawi or nawala. It is also very disappointing, no? At nakakalungkot talaga na inilahad din ng ating mga maisdang Pilipino na despite of the presence of China Coast Guard Vessel 5205 at ang nagmo-monitor ng mga PLA Navy, the mere fact na nakapagpalipad sila ng aircraft dito ay namomonitor naman nila mga maisdang Pilipino. At nung mga panahon na lumulubog itong 2 bangka ng ating mga kababayang Pilipino ay hindi sila nag-offer ng kahit na anumang assistance, no? Para tulungan ang mga maisdang Pilipino.
Commodore Tariela added that China offered rescue. Nice try, but a day already passed after 2 boats sank.
The moment na malaman namin na mayroong mga maisdang Pilipino na nandito sa Iroquois Reef or Rizal Reef, ay sisiguraduhin namin that we're going to maintain our presence there to ensure the safety and security of our Filipino fishermen.
Ay, malaking po yun sa amin, ma'am. Malaking tulong po sa amin. Kagaya ngayon, kung papasok kami ng ibang area naman na may kasamang Philippine Coast Guard, kaya makapangawin kami ng maganda.
The fishermen safely returned to their boats, carrying the early Christmas packs from the PCG. On our route back to Palawan, the Chinese ships was still on our tail. It was around 7 a.m. when we left the Rizal Reef area, but at 6 p.m., the CCG ship approached our ship again. At around 9 p.m., we lost the sight of the CCG and safely returned to the Buliluyan Port, Palawan. According to PCG, under the directive of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., they will continue to maintain their presence to ensure the safety of the Filipino fishermen while they freely fish in the West Philippine Sea. From PTV, Vel Custodio, Balitang Pambansa.
Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr., said upholding human dignity is central to their mission of protecting the country and its people. According to Philippine News Agency's report, Bronner highlighted AFP's unwavering commitment to promoting and safeguarding human rights as a cornerstone of its mandate. Additionally, he reminded AFP personnel of their role as protectors of the Constitution and defenders of the fundamental rights of the Filipino people. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. The lyrics to the title tune, made popular by the Osman Brothers, and the motto of all the orphan guys in the institution Father Edward Flanagan founded, the Boys Town. The 77-year-old institution holds a special place in the President's heart, and today he made his traditional pilgrimage to the center, not only housing orphan boys, but the homeless and the disabled as well, as PTV's Clazel Pardilla reports.
As Christmas draws near, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is working tirelessly to spread the holiday cheer. The president focused his efforts on Manila Boys Town, a facility that provides care and shelter for orphan children, the homeless, senior citizens, and persons with disabilities. He distributed boxes of Christmas packages, essential goods, rice, and hygiene supplies to more than 700 beneficiaries.
Merry Christmas sa inyo lahat. Kami po ay nandito dahil talagang nagsimula na ang Christmas season. Paskong Pasko na. At sino ba ang dapat nating puntahan at magregalo? Kaya kami nandito para magdala ng kaunting regalo.
For 77 years, Manila Boys Town has been a beacon of hope, offering home, care, and support to those in need. President Marcos Jr. reassured the community that the government will never forsake them and has their welfare always in mind.
May future tong mga batang ito, no? Kaya tuloy-tuloy ang aming tulong sa inyo, tuloy-tuloy ang aming pag-alala sa inyo. Huwag niyo pong isipin kahit na sandali na kayo'y nakalimutan.
Despite the challenges brought by recent calamities, the president vowed to deliver aid and services that will bring joy and relief to Filipinos this Christmas season.
Sinabi ko nga kagabi, ang aking Christmas wish, kahit sinong Pilipino, dapat naman magkaroon ng kahit papano maramdaman ang Christmas spirit at magkaroon ng Merry Christmas.
From PTV Manila, Kalezal Pardilla, Balitang Pambansa.
The president is in the mood for spreading the Christmas cheer. He handed out gifts, essential supplies, and basic necessities to the residents of Marilac Hills and the Haven National Center for Women in Muntinlupa City. PTV's Isaiah Mirafuentes tells us more.
This young girl, who we'll call Princess, is 16 years old. At such a young age, she has already experienced using illegal drugs. She was arrested last year.
May problema po ako dahil sa family ko, kaya po ako na-involved sa drugs.
Her parents separated and her mother remarried. However, it was her stepfather or her mother's new husband who brought the dark side of life to her. She was sexually harassed and often speaks about it with pain and bitterness words.
Sinusumbatan po ako ng kinakasama po ni Mama. Tapos po sabi niya po sa akin na hindi daw po kami mabubuhay kung wala siya at di rin po makakapag-aral. Kaya po naisipan ko pong magrebelde nun.
She is one of the children the President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. met in his visit to the facility today. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. visited Marilac Hills and the Haven National Center for Women in Muntinlupa. These are shelters for young girls who have experienced abuse, and some of them have committed offenses at a young age.
Senador pa ako at civilian pa ako, pupunta ako rito. At dahil pagpunta ko rito, lagi ako napapangiti.
He gave Christmas gifts to help ease the sadness the children feel.
Pagdating ko rito ngayong araw, talagang naramdaman ko na ang Pasko. At nakikita ko sa mukha ninyo Alam niyo.
As soon as the president arrived, the children danced and sang for him. Marilac Hills was established during the time of the president's father, former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. And it was among his mother's plan, former First Lady Imelda Marcos.
Natutuwa kami kasi siyempre, pag ang presidente ay may pagtingin sa mga sa mga mahihirap, lalo yung mga naaapi ng mga kabataan natin, mga abandoned children. Ibig sabihin, mabuti siyang tao, di po ba?
Since 2017, the president has been visiting the place. Every year, except during pandemic, he has been giving gifts to the children. In his message, the president reminded everyone that Christmas continues despite the challenges behind and in front of us.
Ano naman, kahit na tinamaan tayo ng ng bagyo, kahit na nasunugan ng mga iba't ibang lugar, kahit papano, tiyakin natin, tayong lahat, kaming lahat, na lahat ng Pilipino, lalo na itong mga maliliit, itong mga bata, dapat ang mga bata kahit papaano makaramdam ng Pasko.
No storm can shake the Filipino Christmas spirit, and nothing beats a Filipino Christmas. From PTV Manila, Isaiah Mirafuentes, Balitang Pambansa.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez encouraged his fellow lawmakers and House staff to embrace the holiday season with gratitude, reflection, and generosity. He highlighted the importance of giving back, especially to those affected by calamities. The House Speaker thanked House employees for their dedication, reminding everyone to focus on self-care and family during the holidays. He called for unity, joy, and renewed sense of purpose and continuing to serve the Filipino people. The ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office, or AMRO, is expecting the country's economic growth to strengthen this year. Based on the information gathered by the Philippine News Agency, AMRO projected the Philippine economy to grow by 5.8% this year, up from 5.5% in 2023. Moreover, the growth is projected to further accelerate to 6.3% by next year. AMRO attributed the projected growth in 2024 to higher government spending, particularly in infrastructure. The S&P Global reported the countries recorded the highest Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, in Southeast Asia for November, the Philippine News Agency reported. The PMI last month rose to 53.8 from a score of 52.9 in October, marking its strongest performance in 29 months. The country's PMI also exceeded the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, average of 50.8 and outpaced Vietnam and Thailand, which posted scores of 50.8 and 50.2 respectively. Up next, applicants flocked to job fairs for displaced POGO workers. Wage hike for private sectors in Eastern Visayas takes effect. These and more news when Balitang Pambansa returns.
Inaingon ko na lagi nga, abi na ako ang barangay Tagpaco. Mo'y pinagkapukli sa tanang barangay sa Tagpaco. Pero pag-abot karon mambrita sa katawid sa Tagpaco, ako nakita ko.
Sa Northern Mindanao, isa sa mga pinagpala na nakatanggap ng tulong galing kay PBBM sa pamamagitan ng Department of Agrarian Reform ay si Nena Obedencio ng Tagpaco, Free Farmers Multipurpose Cooperative ng Tagpaco, Hingug City.
Pasalamat ako sa Tagpaco MPC sa ako kayong tabang sa DAR. Nakinig niya kong ligatan. Dako kayo. Mukha, susunod ako kayo. Iba na. Hindi. Kami kapit akong isinigan. Kung wala ni, wala ko. Kani, dako kayong pasalamat ko sa DAR. Kani, dako kayo kong pasalamat tani. Babat sa kong bata na kong manatan.
Dagan salamat DAR. Mabuhay ang Tagpaco Free Farmers MPC.
Karamihan sa amin ay nag-asawa na lang, walang pinag-aralan, hindi po kami educated. Bakit ipinanganak ako na IP ako na parang walang mga opportunity na para sa amin?
Nagbabaon kami, kanin lang, ang ulam, bagoong, gano'n. Talagang wala nang kaya ang magulang ko.
Hango sa kwento ng mga totoong tao. Tahanan ng mga award-winning documentaries. Public Eye sa PTV.
Government's all-out ban on POGOs unfortunately caused those who work in such ventures to lose their means of living. Fortunately, the Department of Labor and Employment has programs and various types of assistance to help these displaced workers get the right track again. PTV's Bian Manalo supplies the details.
Ang Ana Victoria is one of the applicants who attended the job fairs of the Department of Labor and Employment for displaced POGO workers in the country. This after President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. banned all POGO activities and operations in the Philippines until the end of the year. She said this is a huge help for people like her who are looking for a job.
Maraming salamat po sa DOLE na sa mga project ng DOLE dahil sa DOLE is nagkaroon kami ng opportunity na magkaroon ng trabaho.
In total, the DOLE has held 4 special job fairs in different places in Metro Manila. More than 200 internet gaming licensees or IGL workers are hired on the spot. More than 400 applicants have been helped to avail of SSS unemployment insurance benefit. More than 700 IGL employees have been included in employment facilitation. More than 100 IGL workers will receive livelihood assistance, and with 2 IGL workers subjected to skills or technical training.
Bagamat kami ay nakafocus doon sa mga manggagawa ng mga legitimate operators ng IGL, Internet Gaming Licenses, hindi po namin tatalikuran yung mga manggagawa na nanggaling sa mga illegal.
Meanwhile, the average employment rate in the country increased by more than 1%. That is equivalent to over 48 million Filipinos who are recorded to be employed, higher or paid over the average or minimum wage than over 47 million individual last year. The recorded average of unemployment rate in the country dropped by more than 1%. A slight slipping in average underemployment was also reported.
Sisiguraduhin po namin na tutulungan namin yung mga lalapit sa DOLE, yung mga hindi lalapit, kami po ay magre-reach out either sa pamamagitan po ng DOLE services or PESO.
The agency promotes Project DAPAT or the DOLE Action Plan and Transition Project for a better transition of POGO workers. From PTV Manila, Bien Manalo, Balitang Pambansa.
A wage increase for minimum wage earners in Eastern Visayas takes effect to be implemented in 2 phases. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment will monitor establishments in the region to ensure compliance with the new wage order. Sol Alarcon from Philippine Information Agency Eastern Visayas has more.
Beginning today, December 2, the wage increase for workers in the private sector in Eastern Visayas takes effect. This is after the approval of the 30 pesos wage increase for minimum wage earners in the region. The wage increase will be implemented in 2 tranches. Attorney Dax Villaruel, Regional Director of the Department of Labor and Employment, DOLE Region 8, assured that the agency's inspectors will be monitoring establishments to ensure compliance with the new wage order.
All throughout the year, ay at nililipot po natin ng ating mga inspectors ang mga establishments, including the malalaki at mga maliliit, to determine compliance with first itong minimum wage and also yung occupational safety and health.
Meanwhile, workers in the private sector have varied their actions to the wage increase.
Natutuwa, sobra pa sa tuwa kasi nagdagdag. Kasi yung mga empleyado parang itong kagaya sa amin, parang mababa yung sahod, pati yung mga labor eh. Pagkatapos gusto ko na talagang yung minimum, yung taas-taasan naman. Yan ngayon, ang minimum ngayon, yan, okay yan, 30, nakakatulong yan. Sobra pa sa tulong yan.
Ano kasi namin is kulang pa sa income namin dito. Kaya mabuti naman kung ganun, kung i-increase ang kami sa mga katulad namin construction worker.
The wage increase also covers household workers. Currently, the daily minimum wage is 405 pesos, which will increase to 420 pesos today. In total, the minimum wage will reach 435 pesos if the second tranche is implemented in June next year. From the Philippine Information Agency, Eastern Visayas, Sol Alarcon for Balitang Pambansa.
Project Angel Tree reached the towns of Tibiao, Pandan, and San Remigio in Antique, providing services to hundreds of families with children as identified as child laborers. Philippine Information Agency Antique's Pilar Mabakyao has the report.
The Department of Labor and Employment engaged several government agencies in the province to help out less privileged families through this project, which gathers donations and any form of assistance for children who are considered child laborers. The 61st Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army sent doctors to conduct free consultation and medicines in partnership with the Antique Provincial Health Office and the Municipal Health Office of Tibiao. Army officers also gave free haircuts for the kids.
Ano ba yung insurgency? Yan yung paglaban natin sa mga komunistang terorista. Sino ang unang-unang nire-recruit ng mga NPA? Ang mga kabataan.
Balgus noted that children of poor families are vulnerable to recruitment by the communist terrorist groups, posing dangers to them and compromising their education and their future. Dole, with the Provincial and Municipal Public Employment Office of Tibiao, gave out food packs, school supplies, pre-loved clothing, and other gifts to children. A similar activity was held in Pandan, Antique, helping more than 80 children.
Kapasalamat ako sa may duli nga duro-duro nga bulig, kabay pa nga makatapos mo na nga bata.
The activities featured a discussion on the salient points of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, facilitated by Philippine Information Agency Antique Information Center. From PIA Antique, Pilar Mabakyao for Balitang Pambansa.
The timing couldn't have been any better. First Sunday of Advent, first day of the month of December, a towering pine offering peace and hope rises proudly to brighten up the grounds, the palace grounds, and the lives of those transfixed by its dazzle and shine, including the President, his family, and the residents of the surrounding communities of San Miguel, Manila, fills with joy to ring in the Yuletide season. PTV's Claysa Padilla reports.
The magnificent and brightly decorated Christmas tree at Malacanang has once again been lit, bringing joy and festive cheer to everyone.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos led this year's annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony. The President shared a heartfelt and meaningful message highlighting the importance of love and compassion, especially for those affected by recent typhoons.
It is a joyful time for all Filipinos. But as we celebrate, all I'd like is to ask you to hold a thought for all those people who up to now are trying to recover from the effects of the 6 typhoons that we suffered in 23 days. Many of them are still in shelters. Many of them are still in need.
He also commended the resilience and unwavering spirit of Filipinos who continue to rise above challenges as the Christmas season approaches. In his Christmas wish, the President expressed hope and unity for every Filipino family.
And my Christmas wish is that despite everything, that no Filipino has, every Filipino should feel somehow Christmas. Because after all, no matter how many typhoons they throw at us, no matter how many problems are thrown at us, there's nothing that will quench the Christmas spirit in the Filipino heart. In every child, man, woman, Filipino, hindi mo na matatanggal sa Pilipinas yan.
The program also celebrated the winners of the 3rd annual Isang Bituin, Isang Bitiin competition. This nationwide lantern-making contest involving state colleges and universities across the country honors the artistic talents of Filipinos in creating traditional Christmas lanterns or paroles. The grand prize winner took home 1 million pesos, a laptop, and other exciting rewards.
Our theme this year is about hope and resiliency. So it's beautiful because the paroles that all the students made, we partnered with DepEd this year.
Adding to the festive atmosphere was the enchanting Puso ng Pasko, a 1-hour ballet performance by the Alice Reyes Dance Company, made even more magical with the music of Maestro Ryan Gayabiab.
My experience here is really good. So dun po sa ballet, I really liked it because my sister also dances, and also I felt the spirit of Christmas.
Sobrang ganda po ng performance ng mga tao po nag-perform sa stage. Sobrang ganda po, sobrang napakanga po nila ako.
The event also featured a special Christmas carol performance by the iconic father of Christmas songs, Jose Marie Chan, joined by acclaimed Filipino theater actress Carla La Forteza. From PTV Manila, Calazal Pardilla, Balitang Pambansa.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansagan tomorrow, 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez, and this is Balitang Pambansa.